Alright everyone, Sean here along with Caleb, and today we're going to look at the basics of drumming on drum set, and we're mainly looking at popular music, rock styles, pop styles. We're going to start with just a basic 4 on the floor. So Caleb's on the drum set, and first of all, this is the typical setup, if you're right-handed, but honestly, it's what works for you. So your right foot is on the kick drum and your left foot is on the hi-hat cymbals, and then your hands with the sticks will play on the snare, the rack, and the floor toms, and then we have 2 other crash cymbals. So the first thing we want to look at is the kick drum, and maybe you can see it a little bit, but basically when your foot's at the pedal, you want the ball of your foot right about here to be somewhere around the middle of the bass drum pedal, and there's that board, that pedal board. And let's just start with Caleb was just gonna basically play 4. We call it playing 4 on the floor on the bass drum, just to get a pulse, and we want to get a sense of phrasing as well, which is just 1, 2, 3, 4 in tempo, which means that the time is equidistant, so that like music, it always has this pulse that is regular. Okay, so go for it. Let's do it. And we count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's the pulse that the entire pattern is built on. And so the next thing we're going to do is that when you establish the pulse, which in music we call that the beat, you can take that pulse, that beat, and you can subdivide. So if we're going to subdivide 1, 2, 3, 4, that means we're going to play twice as many notes on another part of the drum set that will hit 1, 2, 3, 4, but also hit an extra hit in between, and we call that and. All right, and we're going to do that. So in this case, the way we're doing it, Caleb will do with his right hand, and he's going to sort of cross his arm over to the hi-hat. And your arms, you want to make sure that the first part of your arms from shoulder to elbow is pretty much pointing straight down towards the floor. You don't want it extended out too much, because it's just not efficient that way, or push back too much. So you pretty much want shoulder to elbow pointing straight down to the floor. And then you can bend at the elbow, and then the basic grip is using your thumb and index finger to create a fulcrum with the drumstick, and then the other 3 fingers just wrap around, and you just kind of get a feel for it to just have a nice relaxed grip, so that you can play these subdivisions. And we're going to count it as the bass drum. We're going to do both the bass drum and the hi-hat. So the hi-hat is going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, as the bass drum is playing 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So the other thing is with the left foot, Caleb will keep the hi-hat closed. So just some pressure to make sure that these hi-hats are not, they're not, the word is sustaining, right? Every hit. It's just going to be a nice chick, 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 right? All right, so let's go with 4 on the floor and then bring in the hi-hat. Go for it. 2, 3, hi-hat. Count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, and we keep going that for a while. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And he's still doing that. I can still count 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and I'm hearing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and last one. So that's good phrasing right there, because if you're playing in 4, you're repeating that, and every 4, you're in your mind, you're getting a sense of what that feels like. It's very symmetrical. That's why a lot of our popular music is in 4/4 time, and the tempo is right at about a medium tempo. It's not too fast, it's not too slow. Okay, so now with the hi-hat, you want to take time until you're comfortable with that, where you can pretty much play that in your sleep. Even if you're not at a drum set, you could just right here, right, just sitting there as you're watching TV or something. So now we're going to introduce a third limb, and that being the left hand. So in this case, the left hand is going to play the snare drum, all right? And this is where you start to build some interdependence, right? Because we have 4 limbs, 2 legs, 2 arms, and or whatever you're working with, you're going to create that interdependence that each limb is working in sync with the other, okay? So we'll start with kick drum playing 4s, then we'll introduce the hi-hat after a couple of those phrases, and then we'll go ahead and throw in the snare drum. But what we're going to do with the snare drum is Caleb will only play the snare drum on 2 and 4, okay? So you'll hear how that goes. All right, here we go. Count it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Just kick the snare now. So that's what it sounds like. Alright, last one. Alright, so the snare drum is playing with the bass drum on 2 and 4. Right? So it's playing together. So if you were just practicing like, oh man, I can't get all 3 at the same time, then just go with right hand on the hi-hat and the kick drum. Then take that out and just go right foot with the kick drum and left hand on the snare drum. And then you slowly start building. You could even do it with the hi-hat and snare. Right? Okay? Okay, so take time to practice that. All right, so the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to introduce a subdivision, okay? So that is, we have the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and on the hi-hat, okay? So in between the number and the and, we count that E, So if we go 1 and 2 and 3, I'm going to slow it down a little bit. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and All right. So the E and the sound just works for, we've used it in music for a long time. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start not even with the hi-hat or the kick drum. We're just going to have Caleb alternate right hand, left hand, and he's just going to play 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and So I'm going to have him, because we have the snare and we have 2 toms here, I'm going to have him play basically 2 beats, 1 E and 2 E and on the snare, and then move up to the rack tom or the high tom, 3 E and then 4 E and okay? And we'll have him do that. We'll have him cycle through that. Let's go 4 times, okay? So, and in terms of the sticking, we refer to it as sticking. He will play starting with the right hand, and he'll just alternate. So every time he's basically leading with the right hand, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and okay? Here we go. So Looking good. Time's still going. All right. So he's playing. He's relaxed but strong. Okay, that's the way I always like to say it. Relaxed but strong. So Caleb is playing right here, and he's just sort of like cutting a piece of pie out of the snare drum. They're all round drums. So he's just going right for the center. Da 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 da. And then he just moves the arms up a little bit to get up here to the rack tom. Same thing, playing for the center of the drum, okay? And then we have a slowed down tempo just to fit in those 16th notes. And it's always good to practice at a slower and medium tempo so that your brain follows along and catches up to what it's processing. And then when needed, right, your brain will be there and ready to go when you're gonna play at faster tempos, okay? So now we're gonna put it all together, okay? So Caleb's gonna play this beat that we learned, all right? And we'll just work into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, bringing the hi-hat, 2, and 3, and 4, and with the snare. And then he's gonna play and introduce that da 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 da. Okay? So we'll go from there. Let's start with the kick drum. Let's bring in the hi-hat now. Now we're bringing in the snare. 3, 4. Get that going for a while. 3, 2. Now we're gonna do. Different ways, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and hear that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. So we're gonna stop there. That's basically your lesson, just square one, just like getting comfortable with it. And notice that he crashed at the end. He went 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Right? So typically we end on the 1 of the next phrase. All right. Next time we'll start talking more about these notes and what they're called. But what I wanted you to really see and hear here was the phrasing, okay? And then also just acclimating yourself to the drum set. All right, so we're good. We'll thank Caleb for awesome demonstration, and we'll see you all very soon.